Okay. So first we'll start introducing ourselves. So you know who the event organizer is. We'll start off with Professor Montero.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Sasha Montero, and I teach sociology and human services here at Coastline. I'm also the chair over human services, sociology, and aging studies. And I'm really excited to see all of you guys here. Thank you for joining.
And hi everyone, I'm Dr. Paulo Marquez. I work over at Career Services over at Coastline College. I'm also a counselor here for our CTE department. Nice meeting all of you. And myself, Professor Montero, we've been doing this probably for 4 or 5 times already, and it's been inspiring for a lot of students. And hopefully for this summer round, it'll inspire many of you as well too. And before we hand it off to the event, I wanted to give a chance for Dean Neal to say a few words. Hi, Dean Neal.
Thank you, Dr. Barclay. Tom Neal here. I'm Dean of Math, Arts, and Sciences, and all three of these disciplines, Asian Studies, Human Services, and Sociology, are under me. And great to have our chair with us, Dr. Montero, who's wonderful and will help guide you. Please learn a lot. Take some notes, ask questions. It's a great time to learn and to listen and to gain some wisdom of your future path. Dr. Barclay has always put together really great summits with great speakers. So please do, please do ask questions and learn much. So thank you, Dr. Barclay, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Dean Neal. And then if Melissa, did you want to say hi, Melissa?
Sure. Yes. My name is Melissa Edson. I am a counselor part-time here in the general counseling office. I split my time at another community college, and I also teach a few classes, not this year, but career planning as well as our 105 class. So I'm very excited that all of you chose to spend your evening with us, and I look forward to chatting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. Yeah, we'll try
Yeah.
to make this as engaging as possible. So feel free to use the chat for any reactions or anything you'd like to use that for. So we really try to make it as engaging as possible. So before we get started, just want to let you know too, for in terms of extra credit that Professor Montero is providing, if you are deciding to get that, if you're registered for the event around 7 p.m., you'll receive an email with a feedback form, and then that list I'll be sending to Professor Montero. So make sure you do fill out that feedback form if you decide to get extra credit for her class and other classes too. And if you didn't register, you could email me at careerservices@coastline.edu, and then you'll be able to I'll be able to send you that link. Okay. Let me go over the agenda first. So in a minute we'll go. Counselor Melissa will go over coastline programs. She'll share her slides of our three different programs. We'll go on a break, and then after that, we'll go into our career insight panel. We're going to have three panelists with you, one in the field of sociology, one in the field of aging studies, and one in the field of human services. And then they'll be answering some few questions, and then there's going to be some time to do some Q&A that you all can answer as well too. We'll take a break. As we know, on Zoom, it's always important to take breaks. And then after that, I'll go over career services, and then we should be good from there. So now I'm going to unshare, and then I'll hand it off to Counselor Melissa.
Okay, great. Let me just go ahead and start mine. Okay, let's see. I trust that you can see my screen. Yes, awesome. Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. What I'll be talking about is the majors in career opportunities in human services, sociology, and aging studies. Again, my name is Melissa Edson. The one of the main ideas is that we're trying to get an overview, of the programs that we offer here at Coastline. as well as transfer, as well as certificates. But really importantly that, we are here to discuss that. Apollo is a great resource in the Career Center. So if anything really does sound like something you want to explore more, he's a great resource for that, as well as coming to the counseling department to talk to one of us as well. We have not just me, but a whole bunch of counselors there that are more than happy to talk to you about this. So for today, what I'll be looking at here is we did our welcome and introduction. We'll be looking at the 3 academic pathways, so human services, sociology, and aging studies, and how they prepare students for what we think are meaningful, people-centered careers. So the goal is to help you understand what each major really is about, the kind of skills you'll gain, and you're going to see a whole lot of overlap, and the career opportunities you can pursue after completing these studies. So these fields are really becoming increasingly important in today's world with growing kind of social challenges, systemic inequities, aging population, professionals who can really support individuals, families, and communities are in high demand right now. And so they have been, but really we see it at the forefront today. So human services and sociology really help us understand and address social problems, okay? While aging studies really prepares us to meet the needs of just our rapidly expanding senior population. Our population is getting older. I just saw the average age now is 84, for living. And so, which is exciting, but especially so I just had a birthday, so I'm like, all right, but at the same time, we need a lot of people to help support this population of people who are living longer and an active life. So together, these majors emphasize service, equity, and community well-being. So really what I want you to ask yourself is, what do you want to change about this world, okay? And then where it is that you want to put that energy, where you want to emphasize in terms of what groups. And we'll kind of look at, all of those when we go through here. So first of all, let's go ahead and look at human services, okay? So human services is an interdisciplinary field, okay? That means it just encompasses a whole lot of different areas into one. When we talk about, say, electrical engineering, that's one kind of field, there's not a whole lot of other things going on in it. So, but really, human services encompasses different fields, and it's dedicated to meeting human needs and improving overall quality of life. So it really does combine the knowledge from psychology, sociology, social work, public health, counseling to prepare students to work directly with people in need. The scope ranges from, we provide, or people in human services provide direct services to individuals and families, really designing and managing programs that address community challenges. So at its core, human services is about helping people navigate the systems, and that could be healthcare, housing, education, employment, justice. I mean, just so many different areas, which for some students, it feels like, oh, that's really big, but for some students, they're like, I'm not quite sure, where that might be. And so luckily in this field, you get some other options. And what students usually found, and I know Paulo can probably attest to this, is that once they start working in those fields and kind of learning where their passion is where they start to really kind of start to focus that energy. So professionals in this field, they act as advocates, ensuring individuals and families can access resources and the support they need. So they're really the helper there to try to help navigate those systems. Human services is also really community-centered. So graduates often work in programs that address poverty issues, mental health, homelessness, substance abuse, as well as child welfare and our aging population. So it encompasses all of that different areas. So where does human services land at Coastline? Okay, so we offer an Associate of Arts degree in human services. We offer a certificate in human services, and we offer an Associate of Arts in Transfer for social work and human services. This just came about last fall of 24. So for us, it's new too, and it's really exciting because it combines some really important fields that overlap. And also an AAT is really geared towards students who want to transfer to a four-year university and either in social work or human services, depending on the school, but it combines it both and it's really awesome. And so we were super excited to have that go through as counselors, so then we were able to kind of provide another option for students. The skills learned, empathy, communication, cultural competency, case management, and program planning. So some possible career paths. This is not everything, okay, but social worker, counselor, professor, case manager, substance abuse counselor. I hear that a lot from students who have either had struggles in the past and gone through their own journey and want to do that then, as well as community outreach specialists. So I wanted to also point out some transfer goals. Okay, so what I hear a lot is students will go, okay, that's great, but like, what can I do with it? Where can I go next? This is just a few. Okay, in my background here, I have CSU Chico. Okay, and that's in Northern California. I didn't put this on here because I'm not local, but it's a great school to attend. So if you're not staying local, there's a whole bunch of different options. But locally, we have the Bachelor of Arts degree in Human Services at CSU Dominguez Hills, and it has a mental health recovery option. Okay, so essentially what an option means is that you're taking a set of courses in addition to the courses for the bachelor's degree in human services. So you're taking just a subset that really focus on mental health recovery. So that was a really fun one to see. Bachelor of Science in Human Services at Cal State Fullerton, and there's also a Bachelor of Arts in Social Work at Cal State LA, as well as at Cal State Long Beach. So really some cool options there in terms of transfer. And if that is your goal, a lot of the times we might emphasize or encourage you to do the AAT in social work because that also combines the general education courses you need for transfer. And that's the wonderful thing about our ADTs to do that. Moving along here, we have sociology, which is next. And so some sociology really is one of really broad, for students. And so a lot of times what we see in our counseling department is students are like psychology or maybe sociology. I can't quite figure out the difference between them, and there's a lot of like overlap with them and we hear that a lot. But really kind of the crux of it is that the sociology is the study of society, groups, institutions, and social behavior. So it's the systematic study of how people interact with each other and the structures that shape our lives. So it looks at like everything from small groups like families, peer networks, to large institutions like schools, governments, economies. If we were going to compare it to psychology, because we get that question a lot, is that psychology tends to be a little bit more of the cognitive part, so the behavior relating to the brain and how that, how that makes us do what we do in terms of behavior. Whereas sociology, we look at it more as from people and cultures and those groups together. In it, we're understanding inequality, culture, and systems, okay, in terms of what you're learning in that particular major. What I really liked when I was looking at different people who have been sociology majors, because I'm always interested in that, and then what their pathways are afterwards, I found that Michelle Obama, she got her Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology, okay? And then she went on to Harvard Law School to get a law degree, okay? So she did her Bachelor of Arts in sociology and then went, I'm gonna go into law. Went to law school, okay? And after completing her degree, she went in, became a lawyer and she focused on marketing and like intellectual property law. That's exciting for her after she was doing it, is what she says, and then so she left law and went into public service, okay? In Chicago, she was an assistant to the mayor, an assistant commissioner for planning and development, and also worked for Chicago Office of Public Allies, where she was doing a nonprofit organization that helped youth leadership. So I thought that was fascinating. And then of course we know what she did after that as well, so in terms of, living in the White House and being a part of that family. So we want to really highlight the fact that she started in sociology and understood, what those connections were, and then, took it to her own pathway. So I thought that was really cool. All right. So again, what is this? Whoops, went too fast there. What's that mean at Coastline? So sociology, we have an AAT in sociology, so an associate of arts degree and transfer for sociology, which includes the general education courses needed, for that next step in terms of transfer. The skill, and we have an associate of arts degree in sociology. So the students that are getting an AA versus an AAT may not have transfer plans. And so really the difference is they're doing their general education courses, that it's a smaller amount of GE that are needed to get an AA degree as opposed to transfer. Okay, still 60 units. An AAT is 60 units. An AA degree of sociology, it just looks different. Okay, and we can absolutely help you make those decisions if you come talk to us about which one should I go with. So really, the bottom line is if you have plans to go on to get a bachelor's degree. Some of your skills are research methods, critical thinking, data analysis, cultural awareness, and communication. Some possible career paths, again, not everything, is a sociologist, human resources specialist, urban planner, market researcher, and a social worker. Social work tends to be the main one that we hear a lot about. I want to go into social work. What should I do? And then transfer goals. Again, not everything. A lot of schools offer sociology bachelor's degrees. Locally, the Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology at Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Dominguez Hills, Cal State Long Beach. And also, which I thought was really cool, Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology with a concentration in health and social welfare at Cal State Fullerton, or with a concentration in social inequalities or a sociology of deviance and crime. Okay, so that's at Fullerton. So really some interesting, unique concentrations at Fullerton if you were going to be a Bachelor of Arts, if you were going to get your bachelor's degree in sociology from Fullerton. Moving on to aging studies. So aging studies, we have the AA degree in aging studies, so an associate of arts degree, and a certificate in aging studies. A student can absolutely still transfer, don't get me wrong, but we would just need to incorporate the general education courses that are needed for that next step in terms of transfer. So aging studies really focuses on understanding the aging process. So challenges that are faced by our older adults and the impact of aging on our society. Again, a really up and coming, just like this is where it's at, in terms of where we need people for helping and advocacy, and since this is such a growing population. At Coastline, okay, so aging studies, again, we talked about the degrees, but this really is an interdisciplinary study of aging and lifespan development. We've already talked about the growing needs of the aging population, but also some of those skills. And also just remember too, I just want to add that it's often called gerontology. We switched it here, but you'll hear it both ways. Usually it's the same topic. So it is the study of the social, psychological, biological aspects of aging across the human lifespan. So, and a lot of times it's not just about older adults, but just about people for how they prepare for and experience aging. Okay, so when you're moving towards and through that process, and what that means for them. And also, more importantly, how families and communities adapt to people in their families or communities that are aging and what that looks like for them. So this field definitely draws upon sociology, psychology, healthcare, public policy, human services. It's really, really interdisciplinary. So it really does encompass so many different areas. And then career pathways, not everything, but here's a little sampling. Community health workers, geriatric care or home health aides, social worker, activity directors, at assisted living facilities, 55 and over, areas. I see a lot of that as well. Transfer goals. This one is not as plentiful as, say, sociology, social work, but there is a Bachelor of Arts degree in gerontology at San Diego State, and a Bachelor of Arts degree in human development with a concentration in adult and gerontology services at Cal State San Marcos. So those are kind of two, little south from us, but there is a few available. What are you gonna, learn? So the common skills across the fields, and I know you heard me say it on each of them, was the communication, the cultural competency, the empathy, advocacy. Data analysis is not something I mentioned, before, but within this, there's a lot of, looking at what the trends are, what the research is saying, what the numbers are showing, what do people want, what they don't want, what is going on there in terms of the data, and then how you use that to create, either using it for advocacy or either community activities, things that you can do to implement in the community to help that particular population. I really emphasize when students are trying to make some decisions about this, Introduction to Human Services, so our HSVC C100 course, Sociology C100, Intro to Sociology. Those are two great courses, to really kind of delve into. And I know a lot of you on this summit are either have taken those or are in it, right now. And so you're already familiar, but those really, because those also overlap with all of those majors that we just talked about. So then I always tell students, okay, dip into it, see what you think, and then no harm done if you need to, take a different pathway. That's fine. At least you've kind of looked at that, or maybe you're thinking human services but decide to do sociology instead. That's okay. There's a lot of overlap there, so no harm done in terms of when you're taking those courses and then make some switches. Okay. So how to choose the right major for you. Now this one's a hard one, because there's not one right answer. There's a lot of exploring that needs to go on with that. There's talking to our career center, counselor. There's talking to people in the field that you might be interested in going into. There is, if you have maybe somebody who is older and is maybe in a situation where they're in an assisted living situation, a group home, that you're asking that person, that director of the activity, what do you do? How'd you get here? Do you like it? What don't you like about this occupation? Those are all ways that you can gather information about what it is that you see yourself doing. There's not one assessment, there's not one conversation, these are multiple conversations that happen with various people when you start to narrow that. There's a class that you take and you find out more about it. And so all of this is such a learning experience in terms of finding kind of which right major. And I even hate to kind of say right major because it's not going to be 100%. Okay. You're going to get to a point where you're like, okay, seems great. This is what I want to do. And you go forward with it. So for example, if you're passionate about like hands-on helping, connecting people to resources, human services might be kind of the way, the angle, or where you lean. But if you're more curious about maybe why society works the way it does, sociology might be more where you lean then. If you're interested in supporting, older adults, that transition, the pathway to that, shaping programs for our older population, aging studies may be a perfect match. So this is ways that you can start to put those into piles, but then there's a lot of overlap, as we saw. And then next, just some, finally, some just questions that you ask for yourself when you're picking majors. You do a little bit, or a lot of self-reflection. What population do you want to work with? What social issues are you passionate about? Do you enjoy direct interaction with people, or do you prefer research analysis? Some things that, just as I was mentioning, you meet with a counselor, you visit the career center, you get involved in clubs and organizations, you attend summits like this, yay, fantastic, so that's another way to do it. Internship and volunteer opportunities, that's also another layer to all this. And we're always willing to hear you guys and kind of vet all of these ideas out when you're exploring. And that does it for me. So I know I talked fast, but I hope that gives you just a good overview of it, that we can launch into further conversations about. Again, with anybody at our counseling center, there's more than a dozen of us who are always happy to talk to students. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Counselor Melissa.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna take a 3-4 minute break. So go ahead and do a stretches. If you want to stay on, if you have any questions, we have Melissa here as well too. So feel free to ask questions away on the chat, or if you want to verbally say something, go for it. But for everyone else, take a break, go stretch, do some push-ups. And if you have questions, ask away. Looks like Andrea has a question.
Yes. Hi. Oh, hang on, let me lower my hand. Hi. My name's Andrea, and currently I am enrolled in the AA with transfer for human services and social work. And my question is, um, you know, well, I guess maybe I should set up an appointment because I have my degree works set out, and it just seems like there's a lot of, I don't know, a lot of things in there. Now, is that one? And thank you, Paulo, for sending the link again. I'll set up. But my question is, are there multiple, like, do they have online school for bachelor degrees as well?
Mhm. That's a great question. Yeah. So the Cal State system is the one we usually will refer to students first, and they have a link on calstate.edu. Paulo, maybe you want to put that in there, and they have a link for fully online bachelor degree programs. And so then you can search it by interest area and do it that way. It's warning, it's not a huge list, it's growing, but there is those options. There's also out of state ones as well. There's not just kind of a list for that, but that's also an option as well. But yes, go back to your original degree works. Yes, it can sometimes look a little overwhelming, but we're happy to break it down for you. Usually if students make an appointment with the counselor and then we break it down, they're like, oh, okay, yes, this seems more manageable. So feel free to do that.
That's a good point. That's a really good question, Andrea, because a lot of our students are online. They want to continue that online form. On the chat, I put the link for CSU Online. And there's a list of
Perfect.
different programs that they offer there. A really good one, actually, a lot of our students actually like is ASU Online.
Mhm.
Um, Even though they're more expensive, they don't charge out of state, but that their list of options is really a lot. So I highly recommend checking out the online programs for ASU. There's really good. They have like for example, human services concentration in addiction studies. It's like there's so much out there that um, that's not limited to just like on site in person. So I put the link again for counseling up there and career services on the chat. So highly recommend you set up a time. That way you have that one-on-one with Melissa, myself, or another counselor. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, great question.
Professor Montero, anything you want to add? All right. Thank you again,
Not,
Counselor.
not at this moment. My doggy is having a tantrum right now.
Oh,
Sorry.
Is it dinner time?
Yes.
nice. Looks like Professor Montero needs to start animal services in addition to human services, right? Perfect. All right, so we're gonna transition it over to our panelists. Let me highlight them really quickly. Where's Sean? Where's Sean? Sean, for those that don't know, is one of our super students. Oh, I see him. I see him. Where'd he
What's
go?
up?
Sean's one of our alumni. Sean, I don't see you for some reason. Oh, there you are. There you are. Give me here. Perfect. Thank you again, Melissa. Perfect. All right. Well, welcome back from break, everyone. It's 6:05 p.m. Right now, we're going to transition over to our panelists. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. Okay. So for this portion, again, really want you all to be engaged here. Feel free to use the chat for any questions or anything like that. So for this portion, Professor Montero will be moderating this panel. We have folks from the three different disciplines now, and who's going to share their experiences. So I'm going to hand it off now to Professor Montero.
Okay, so thank you so much to the three panelists for joining us. The first question is, what's your story? So, for example, of course, start with your name, your academic background, your career journey, barriers, your current role, and maybe some future plans. So I don't know if there's somebody who'd like to start between the three. Sh-
Hey, Kathy, I think
I think you're
we can't
muted.
hear you.
I can start while she's
Okay,
figuring that
perfect.
out.
Thank you, Clarissa.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Clarissa Leyva. I'm from I graduated from Cal State Fullerton, started my journey off at Fullerton Community College. I'm currently an associate clinical social worker. And part of that means that my role right now is that I do therapy for children and families, and I also do therapy at a private practice for adults. A little bit of my background, I guess I'll start with like a little bit of barriers and kind of give some insight into my journey. So I'm a first generation college student. I was the first in my family to graduate high school. So of course, going into community college, I knew absolutely nothing about what to study and what to do and or any of that. But I was very fortunate to have found mentors and programs. So, you know, you all being a part of something like this is really helpful because you get a lot of insight. And yeah, so for me, I started off at Fullerton College studying psychology. At the time, I was commuting and working full time at Del Taco. And I had a mentor that basically told me, like, hey, if you're trying to build your resume, if you want to like work in the helping field, I really suggest you work on on campus because on campus jobs really help build skills of communicating with people, working with diverse populations, and all those things. So in my journey at Fullerton College, I started working on campus, so it allowed me to really focus in school, and I was very fortunate enough to be able to do like internships on the side, volunteer, so that all helped pave my path. And I was able to finish in 2 years and transfer to Cal State Fullerton, where I continued with psychology. But another barrier to kind of add to that is like a lot of financial stressors. And to kind of go off of that, I was again very fortunate that I got scholarships. So I was able to live on campus through a scholarship, which was cool. If you guys get in touch with scholarships, definitely open yourself up to those opportunities because I don't think I would have been able to get through school if it wasn't for that because financial stress is real. But there was a lot of like imposter syndrome, and my first couple of like grades was an F on like exams, and I was like, what the heck? Like I'm doing the best that I can, I'm studying, and it just wasn't working out for me. But yeah, so those are like some barriers of like imposter syndrome, feeling like inadequate, feeling like I'm not smart enough. But again, I got in touch with a lot of like great programs that helped, and there was a lot of study groups and things like that. So that helped me. But I did realize that although psychology was like learning about why people do the things that they do, I wanted to know how I can help people in those ways. And at Cal State Fullerton, they have the Human Services program where you're able to learn crisis intervention, like how to manage suicide and homicidality. You're able to learn case management. They had child abuse classes, domestic violence classes. So I took all those and I ended up getting my bachelor's in human services. Which then eventually led me to just start asking like different people questions about what their career path is. Like, do I go clinical psychology? Do I go social work? Do I do counseling? Like, there's so many options in the helping field. So I started interviewing a bunch of people and I started asking them about their jobs. And eventually I led to social work because with social work, I found that you can do therapy, you can do case management, you can work in residentials, drug programs, you can work in schools. I've gotten the chance to work in prison settings, school settings, clinic, outpatient settings. I go to the homes as well and like provide therapy. So there's just so much options within that. And because, you know, again, I've been very fortunate to have like a little bit of taste of everything. I wanted to get a taste of everything from high risk families, high risk clients to like lower risk in private practice. I would say that now, like my future goals is to kind of figure out like, okay, which one will be best for me for like long term. But I guess it kind of goes into like really recommending that you try in internships and volunteering to really figure out what is best fit for you. So yeah, that's my long-winded story.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Kathy, did you want to go next?
Sure. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. So I'm an older adult, and so I kind of knew that I wanted to go into aging studies when I returned to school. I was a social work slash math major minor in college and chose to go down the social research path. And then when I when that job went away, I decided to go into this actual social work aspect of it and had been helping my mom as she was aging. And she kind of whispered in my ear one day, hey, you're kind of good at this. Maybe you should consider a career change. And so when she passed away and we downsized, my company downsized, I decided I was going to do that. So I started by taking, it had been years since I'd been in school, so I started by taking a few online courses here at Coastline and said, oh, I can do this. My mind still works. I'm able to engage. I'm able to learn. I'm able to be challenged. I liked interacting with the multi-generational students. And so then I went one level higher and enrolled in the Cal State Long Beach's graduate program in gerontology and graduated from that. And now I'm a care manager at the senior center in Huntington Beach. We offer support and resource connection to aging adults who want to age in place at home, but are kind of in need of extra services as they go down that path. So I feel like for myself, educating myself and my spouse and my siblings at the same time, I'm relatable to a lot of my clients because I'm in that same age range as them. And it's worked out really nice for me. And my next step will probably be retirement. So I don't have any big goals or aspirations ahead of me beyond that and spending time with my family and grandkids. So that's kind of where my path went. And I don't think it'll be similar to any of your paths. But the point is, like, if you have some kind of a passion, then pursue that passion and learn from it and share the information, not only with clients, but with the community. And that's what I feel like we do.
Thank you so much. Okay, Sean, you're next.
Okay, Dr. Montero, I'll try to keep it short. My name's Sean. I'm a former recovering alcoholic addict. I was homeless, living on the streets. I'm a first generation college student. I am an alumni of Coastline. Uh, Amazing school. All of you that are here, fantastic. I know my homie Kat right there. We worked together for like 4 years at Resurgence. I think I might have been a little instrumental in getting her in here. I love that that she's here now too, and considering sociology, because I'll tell you what, I sat in this summit my first year, and that led me to getting my degree in sociology. So it's definitely a very powerful tool. Yeah, so I'm recovered. You know, sobriety date of December 13th, 2018. I still live at home. I also take care of my aged mom. She's 79, has Alzheimer's dementia. She's in stage 4. You know, got my kids back, got the job back, you know, got my self-worth back. And Coastline has been very paramount in me being able to achieve these things. I currently attend Chico State. I am an online distance education student. It is a phenomenal program. If for some reason that you need to stay distance education, it is the only sociology program in the CSU system that is state funded. I get my full Pell Grant. I get all of the Cal grants, all of the funding. So if you're looking for that, I recommend Chico. Not to mention, it's phenomenal. I mean, the professors are amazing. It's just been a very wonderful time. I am graduating in spring, and I'm currently in the grad school application process for the MSW programs. Oh my goodness gracious. It's crazy. They're writing 11-page papers talking about myself. It's horrible. Carissa, absolutely. I'm also a member of Project Rebound at Chico State. And then iPhone, I don't know what your name is, but it does make it a little more challenging to do social work internships. But if you're local and if you're in Orange County, you also can look into the New Leaf project. I did that and got all of my criminal charges expunged. So that's definitely a program to look into.
Awesome.
Awesome. So many good things going on. We're happy to hear. Okay, so our next question is, what inspired you to pursue a career in the helping professions? And maybe we'll just keep it in the same order to make it easier. So Clarissa.
Yeah, I know I can't see a lot of your faces, so bear with me because sometimes I like to go based off my audience. But for lack of a better word, my family was a little cray cray. You know, we had a lot of drug addiction, domestic violence, social workers coming, you know, having to talk to therapists, and just generations of a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma. And as a kid, I always wondered, like, okay, what is it? Like, you know, my mom was an addict, my siblings struggle with addiction. So I was like, what is it and why is it like within me? Like, I mean, granted, I have my stuff, but that I didn't struggle with it to that extent. And I just wanted to study like the human brain. Like, I wanted to know why people are the way they are, why our family is like dysfunctional, and like, why does all this happen? So that ultimately, like, my curiosity ultimately led me to this field. And then eventually, you know, when a bunch of stuff is going on in my family as I'm studying this, like I'm studying all stuff with domestic violence, but I'm hearing about it like happening in real time with my family. And that's just, you know, real talk. But as I'm studying it, I'm like, okay, great. I know like why I'm learning why this happens, but I have no idea how to help and like what I can actually do. So that again ultimately led me to human services because it was like real like hands-on experience of things you can do and tools you can do. And I'm like super, you know, grateful for it because I feel now way more equipped to handle situations that as a kid I had no idea like why or how to help. And now I know the why and I know how. So it's yeah, it's like one of those things of like turning something and making it for good, you know, which I feel like most of us in the helping profession, you get into it for a reason, and usually it's because it's personal or because you just have a heart for it. So yeah, that's my reason.
Thank you, Clarissa. I think we grew up in the same family. Okay.
I think similar, like in terms of personal connection with family members, but as I mentioned, my mom, I kind of learned a lot about awesome resources that were out there but a lot of people don't know about them, and the need for additional support and resources is definitely there within the older adult community because you know, lose family members, friends, you lose your capabilities physically, cognitively, behaviorally, all kinds of different deficits sort of come on you. And so I wanted to find a way to share what I had learned with my mom with others because I felt like it was beneficial for myself. And so I pursued that. You know, I did a lot of research because I'm from marketing research, and I did a lot of research into a lot of resources that were available. I was able to do that remotely because she lived on the East Coast and I live on the West Coast. And then I decided like I need to share this with more people. So I went back to school, and then I found a place where I could actually connect with community and family members and help them go through the same, you know, processes that I was going through at the same time as learning from them. I'm a forever learner. So I love learning from people. It's like, for me, it's the best, easiest way to learn, from connecting with other people. And there's so many stories, and, you know, thankfully in my situation, it's a lot of happy stories, maybe not so much in some of the other social workers that are here, but kind of gerontology is sort of a happy place to be when it comes to social services and resources and helping people.
Great. Thank you so much. Sean.
Yeah, so somebody help me, I mean, just straight up. I could still go back to the childhood trauma and all that. I carried with me for a long time, and it turned into addiction. But yeah, I got to the point where like I hit my knees, somebody helped me, and then I got an opportunity like in AA to kind of help other people in the beginning when I was early in my sobriety, and then seeing that light come on and just seeing that change happen in people that have struggled through the same struggles that I went through, just made like the entire maybe want to dedicate the rest of my life to helping others. I mean, just knowing that we can get people free from this kind of trauma and the pain that they've suffered through is just amazing. And also, like, this is a war. Like, we're fighting a war right now with the epidemic. We're losing hundreds of people constantly. I think since I've been sober, I've lost like 215 people that I've known. There's overdose, murders, accidents, stuff like that. It's just constant. So we're fighting a battle, and I know I'm a warrior, and I want to help people grow and evolve.
Thank you. Such powerful stories you guys all shared with us. Okay, so the next question for the panel is what helps you stay connected to your why in challenging moments, right? So one thing that we can't deny is that these fields have some definite challenges that come with it, right? So, all of these fields kind of have high turnover, there's burnout, right? So how do you guys stay connected to your why during these challenges?
I feel for me, and you've said it well, Sasha, this field really can lead to a lot of burnout. I feel like for me, it's moments when I see like a client have like an aha moment, or like if you have yeah, I love working with teenagers. So when I have like a teenager who has a very hard shell, doesn't want to talk, doesn't want therapy, and eventually they're coming in and they have a bunch to say and they're able to cry and express their emotions, like that reminds me of my why. Or like seeing like families like restore from like sexual abuse trauma, like really heavy stuff, like just seeing that restoration is my why. And I do try to like journal or keep a record of like when clients have like thanked me or been appreciative of like the work that they've been able to do in therapy and stuff like that. I've kept that as a reminder of my why, because it's very easy to forget when you're having a lot of people give you pushback and you're not seeing a lot of change, and you're feeling helpless in a lot of situations. But those little moments are really important to hold on to, because even if you might not see someone change, from the time that you worked with them, those moments are pieces of change or pieces of hope, pieces of work. And yeah, I try to hold on to those.
What about for you, Kathy? What's your why?
Yeah, I don't, like I don't have as many of those burnout issues, but I think the why is similarly based in that you recognize that you're helping somebody, and that becomes, after you're able to do that, the next situation that presents itself, which may be so much different, is a challenge to find a way to help them too, because you have knowledge and abilities that they don't have, and you want to just be able to exercise that to their benefit as much as possible. I think so. That's my why. So I just saw a client on my way home from work today, and she's so sad and depressed and isolated. I'm here Googling different things, trying to set up tours to go to some place to see, maybe that'll do it. And I go in there knowing that she may reject every single idea that I have, but I've also planted a seed that she may come back around later on and say, maybe I do want to try this. So I have to kind of research it and share every possibility with a client to know that they matter, they count, and even if they reject it, I'm not going to feel bad because they might come back for it.
Great points. Okay, Sean, what's your why?
All right, so my why is, again, we're all gardeners here, right? I always stay connected, and burnout is real, especially in this field. Again, I talked about the light coming on people's eyes. Huge connection. But I also think, Buddha said it, that a wise man plants the tree knowing he will not sit within its shade, right? So we're not only just planting seeds, but we're hoping that those trees grow and bloom. And it's just, I think boundaries and having like grounding techniques and staying in gratitude. I mean, that's really it. Like getting into gratitude whenever I'm feeling irritable, restless, or discontented, getting frustrated, knowing that I'm like doing everything I can for my patients and my clients, and they're just not getting it. It's just like, hey, I'm grateful I get to be in this position to offer these services, and that just keeps me going.
Yeah, I think staying in gratitude is really important, right? It's really good also with trying to intervene negative thoughts. If you're feeling negative about something, right, and you express gratitude about something simple, the sunshine, that you had a good snack to eat, that oftentimes, is sort of all you need to sort of turn that, negative way of thinking around. Okay, so our last question is, what's the best advice that you can give to our students? And, these would be things inclusive of, maybe sharing mistakes that you've made, what you would have done differently, skills that you learned, experiences to gain, anything like that that you'd be willing to share.
Okay, I'll try not to make this super long because I have so many thoughts on this part because I wish I could give you all like just everything. Because it's hard. It's a very lonely walk, especially if you're like again the only person in your friend circle or like in your family that's doing this. So kudos to you all just for even being here. Um but yeah, one of my, I guess my biggest not regrets, but something I wish I would have done differently is I didn't enjoy the moment. Like I was very much chasing internships and volunteering and doing like taking full-time classes, like the whole road. And I did, get my bachelor's in the 4 years, given that I came from community college, which is not unfortunately not as like common, but it did cause like a lot of burnout and not a lot of like slowing down and enjoying it when you can have the same experience but have it at a slower pace, even like slow pace wins the race. And yeah, so just making sure that you like take care of yourself and that it's not to where you're getting burnt out. Because if you get burnt out in school and then you're getting out of school and then you get into a burned out field, it's exhausting. So that would be my main part. But with that being said, I will say the internships and volunteering definitely paid off. I started off with volunteering without, needing to, so no credit. But again, I was working at Del Taco, so I was trying to build some sort of experience. So I started volunteering at like group homes. I started volunteering as a mentor for children with an incarcerated parent. I did like cooking things for children at a shelter and just stuff like that that can start building your resume. So by the time got to internships, then I knew a little bit like, okay, I kind of know what group home is like. Like, let me do an internship there. Okay, I kind of know what working with teens is, with teens in a residential setting. So I got a job there. So stuff like that to kind of help build your resume and also build what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Because if not, you end up with a degree and not knowing where to put it, how to use it, or what you even like. So volunteering and internships definitely guides you to figure that out. Um, and a tip with that too is saying that wherever you go for like volunteering and interning, if you leave there feeling exhausted, it's not a space for you because you don't want to go into any job or anything feeling exhausted. So I, noted that with all my volunteering and internships, and I learned residential is not for me. So I don't do residential as a job, even though they pay higher, but I won't do it. So yeah, little things like that. And then I had another one and I completely forgot what it was. But my other one too is as far as like skills to learn is time management. I definitely think I have ADD, but it's undiagnosed. And I'm a little scatterbrained. So when you're a scatterbrain and you're having to do like case management, you want to take care of yourself, you're trying to take care of your clients, you will lose your energy and you will burn out. So managing your time is super, super important, especially when you're trying to incorporate self-care. So like now I've learned like morning routines and making sure you take care of your own self before you do your classes, do your school, do your work. That is super big. Sorry, I had one more really big one that helped me is I started also interviewing people. So I knew one girl who was a drug counselor, respect Sean, because I interviewed her and I was like, let me find out all about what drug counselors do because I thought that's what I want to do. And she told me if you have current addicts in your family and you're trying to do this job, you're gonna get burnt out. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me not do that. So that was advice I got just from like interviewing and taking that time to do that. And then yeah, interviewing school social workers and just different people to again figure out if I'm not gonna intern or volunteer there, let me find out again what it is for sure I want to do. And it helps networking, it helps give opportunities, and stuff like that. So yeah, long story short, those are my tips.
That was great stuff. Thank you, Clarissa. All right, Kathy.
Yeah, so I'm going to concur with the internships and the volunteering. I did both of those things as well. But I also went one step further and just kind of visited a lot of the places that I thought I might be interested in, not as a volunteer, just in seeking information, making a short list of places that I really liked. So for instance, I kind of knew I wanted to work in a senior center because there's a lot of stuff going on there, and there's a lot of activities, a lot of action, a lot of positivity that's available for people as well as those that need help. So I went to like almost, I don't know, 20 senior centers in Orange County, just kind of observed, talked to a few of the people who were there. How do you like this? I could actually go as my own self because I was a senior, like, and participate in things and just see which ones that I think were like offering the best type of support that I could, fit into. So all of them were offering like awesome support stuff. Everybody has different ways, different clients, different communities, different hours, and all different kinds of things. And so I just kind of cherry picked a few of them that I thought I want one of these guys. I want to work in one of these guys, and then tried to pursue finding out how do I do that, And then once I got in there, I would say that you want to lean on your, coworkers, your networking community. When you have any questions, if you have any complex issues that you're trying to figure out, go for it on your own, but don't hesitate to reach out to others because they can also offer something that could be a light bulb moment for you. And you go, oh my God, I never thought of that. Or vice versa. You'll say something and they're like, oh my God, I never thought of that. So it really helps to broaden what you're able to offer to others and each other. So that's my stuff.
Great, thank you. Okay, Sean.
Okay, so I have the benefit of actually being a student and employed in the field. So I got to tell you, the first thing I want to do, go to office hours. Like, it doesn't matter. Go to office hours, meet your professors, talk to them. Even if you don't have any questions about the material, Google them. Like, look up what they've worked on and what their interests are and talk about their interests. Professors love talking about themselves. Just go, but like get to know them, get to connected with them. And because you're going to need them. Like, when you grow and evolve past, being in community college, it's short. This is 2 years. The next steps, you're going to need that support. I've had support from my people at Coastline. It's been phenomenal, huge, very important. Definitely explore your options. And just like do some research in advance, like when you're looking at the next steps when you're going from here. But as far as like working with people, I have to say boundaries are huge. It's one thing it took me a little bit of time to learn, because when you're an addict and you're trying to help other addicts, you like kind of like will get some counter transference going on. soon as I lost the first patient, like I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to like cut this off and start learning how to kind of protect my energy and make sure that I'm not personalizing my connections with the clients or the patients. So it's important that you kind of know your role and the power differential that goes on there. Other than that, like take care of yourself. Explore. Don't be afraid of to get out there and meet people, and yeah, that's it.
I just want to say too, office hours, what's really important to them too is sometimes you need a letter of recommendation. And especially because we're an online college, it's kind of difficult, right, for professors to like, know exactly who all of their students are because we don't have that face-to-face interaction. So when somebody comes to office hours and then later they request a letter of recommendation, it just makes it so much easier to really personalize that letter for people. How are we on time, Paolo?
We're a little bit over, but it's okay.
So those were all of the questions. Are we doing the Q&A now, Paolo?
Yeah, so what we could do now, well, thank you all again to our panelists for the wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And I'm going through the chat and some students are starting to share their story. I think yeah, we'll be flexible and maybe give some time for folks in the room if they want to verbally share comments, maybe share their story, thanking the panelists. Keep in mind though, this is being recorded, so only share what you want to share. But if anyone want to say thank you to Clarissa, Kathleen, or Sean, please put it on the chat, or we want to hear from you. So feel free if you want to say something. Kat, I know you want to say something. I see you. Here.
Hi, Sean. I don't know if I'm being recorded, but I really appreciate all of the feedback I got tonight. Thank you. Dr. Montero, I'm in my second class with you, I think, and I absolutely love it. I think that with Sean's guidance as my official first role model, I'm definitely gonna go for the sociology, but I was offered last year I changed from psychology to social work because Long Beach has that. So I totally changed majors and I'm happier. Like it's a little bit it calls to me a little bit more. I am also a addiction counselor, just got my 2 I think yesterday, November 2nd. And I love it. I love what I do. I have a passion for it and I totally get boundaries, Sean. Took 6 years, but I get it, that losing all those people to fentanyl is not funny. It's no joke. And I think I just want to specialize in addiction studies for my future and do what I can in that field. I love children. I have 3 of my own, but I think other people are going to be better suited for that. I really want to go for my people and see what I can do. But thank you guys all. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Clarissa. And thank you, Sean. And Dr. Montero and Paolo, Dr. Everyone. Okay, bye.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Anyone else in the audience would like to verbally share, comment? Professor Montero, you were saying something. Not sure if you.
No, I was telling my dog to behave.
Okay.
But thank you very much. Really, truly, from the bottom of my heart to our panelists, you guys really provide invaluable, histories for our students, and I think it, makes it easier for students to really connect, right? When you know that there's real people who have done these studies and gone into these fields. So thank you for taking the time to share your stories with us. Sean?
Okay, it's something I totally forgot to mention. And Kat reminded me saying that she switched from psychology to sociology. You can do both. It's not super difficult to get both of those at Coastline. I did it. Like when I went to that summit, I was like, hey, wait a minute. And then I met with the counselor, and then she was like, yeah, just add this class here and this class here. And we reworked my plan. And like I graduated the same amount of time. I think I had 1 semester I had to take like an extra class, but it was doable. So look into that. Again, you stack those credentials. And like if you're looking to move on in the future and grow up like that, you're gonna look that much better on paper.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you for our panelist. All right, so we're gonna shift gears. Everyone do just a quick stretch as we transition. Thank you again to all the panelists for the wonderful stories.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, and I gotta go do this like information session for CSUN's sociology program. So bye.
Thank you so much,
Bye,
Sean.
y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clarissa. Thank you. All right. Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay, so we're going to transition over to the last part of this summit. So I'll be sharing some resources. I shared a lot in the chat, but I'll share even more here. So hi again, everyone. I'm Paulo Varquez. I work at the Career Center here, Career Services at Coastline. So I'll share some the stuff that we do and connect the dots with some of what our speakers were saying. But let me ask you, if you want to make good money, raise your hand or put it on the chat or say something or do some kind of movement. If you're here in school to make money, eventually you raise your hand. If not, I don't know what you're doing. We have Google and YouTube to like learn everything. You don't need college to do that. So yeah, most people in here are in here to make money eventually, right? So that's really important. So just a quick background about myself that we kind of know who I am. I actually got my bachelor's in sociology, um, and master's in counseling, and then I have my doctorate in education. And I actually teach and have taught career and lifestyle development for co-science students and MFT students as well too. And then currently right now I do career services and counseling both for Coastline. So I do want to share this career success formula. This is super, super important. It doesn't go away. It doesn't matter if you have a PhD or master's degree. It's so competitive now that you kind of need to learn how to play the game if you want to be successful. The first spot is education, right? That's the reason why you're in school in the first place. That's your certificates, degrees, all that. That's important. But it depends on your field because there's a lot of fields out there where you could skip this and be totally okay, right? It just depends. It depends on your end goal. Um, Next part is self-awareness. This is your personality, your strengths, your values, who you are as a person. That's really important. I meet with a lot of students. They tell me they want to become a medical doctor. And then later I found out they don't like blood, they don't want to help people, and they don't want to work in the hospital. And it's like, okay, well, um, a lot of times it's family, pressure, uh, parent pressure. If you're the oldest in the family, youngest in the family, or you're the forgotten middle child, there's all that dynamic comes to play. So at Career Services, we do have like MBTI and strong personality tests that you can do as well. Marketing, we help out with that as well too. So when it comes to resumes and cover letters and interviewing, we help out with that. Because again, if you're a 4.0 student and you don't know how to market yourself, it's gonna be very difficult for you to transition to a job, internship, whatever it is. Next part is relevant experience. So I put this on the chat. This is super, super important. I meet with a lot of students with like 5 degrees and 4 certificates, and it's like no experience. A lot of times for the employers, it's a check mark, right? So the next thing you're gonna look at is like, what's your actual experience? Because you could have a degree, but so does like 100 other people. So how are you gonna stand out? So those are the things that you want to start thinking about. Like, what can you do outside of school, or how can you transition? How can you start transitioning from your field to the field that you want to go towards? That way you have the degree and you have the experience and it's just much easier to transition and be competitive. And we help out with that as well too. Next part is networking. So going to like Professor Montero's office hours, getting to know the right individuals. This is super important because a lot of times you get a job through other people. You or someone else, you probably know someone that got hired because they know someone, right? So this is super, super important. A lot of students don't do this until panic mode. They're like, oh, I need a lot of recommendation. Let me go ask Professor Montero, and I've only known her for like 3 months. So she's probably gonna use like ChatGPT to write your letter of rec, right? So you don't want that to happen. So you want actually to get to know her like 3 years versus 3 months. What sounds better, right? So you have to be able to you want to start developing those relationships now rather than the last minute. Especially when you're thinking about going to grad school later, like you're gonna need a lot of recommendations and references, and you want to be able to build those connections earlier. Next part is luck, right? You could graduate during a pandemic, you could graduate during a recession, you could graduate during inflation, tariffs going up like crazy, right? You just never know, right? If how the job market will be. And I did want to share this as well in relation to many people's stories. This is super important. Many people think success looks very linear, where like it's like the movie, right? You go to high school, then you go to college, and you get a really good job, then you buy a Tesla, then you buy a house. Well, good luck trying to buy a house nowadays, right? So people think it's like linear like this, right? But realistically, life kind of looks more like this, where sometimes like things you don't have any control. Sometimes a family member passes away. Sometimes you have a really good promotion. So this is super important. And the more you're getting help from myself or Professor Montero or Melissa or other counselors, the more positive you're going to be. Because I feel like people feel like they need to like do everything themselves. You know, that's a very individualistic culture that we live in. But, you know, we have done this a lot. We have a lot of experience helping students in all type of ways. So, and you're paying for our services, right? So make sure you're taking advantage of these. Because again, most students don't take advantage of this until when they're done. It's like, what can I do now? And it's like, well, what have you done? Right. So there's a huge difference when students meet me the first year and then versus like students that meet with me when they graduate and they're like, hey, I'm trying to find a job. And it's like, okay, well, it's going to be very difficult if all you did was school, right? And if you've been working at somewhere that's not related. So we have to start thinking about strategizing and implementing all these things to really maximize transitioning, right? Because when you're successful, you make us look good. Like we want you to become successful, but it's like really up to you to make that happen, right? Like you have to reach out and get the help because we can only do so much and be like, hey, come see us when it's up to you to have to make those moves. So I also want to emphasize this. There's multiple pathways to getting to your end goal. So a lot of times if you're in the helping profession, there's like so much pathways. Like there's social worker, there's MFT, there's psychologist, there's so much pathways. And you could actually major in any of the three that we do here and then go to any of those fields. There's like so many pathways to get into those fields. So and talking to either of us counselors, we could kind of show you kind of like that whole pathway of getting there. Okay, so let me just share. I won't share this fully, but I did just want to share some really good resources. So I did share the nonprofit website on the chat. This is a really good one if you're living in the Orange County area. If you don't, you know, set up a time with me. We'll find out where your area is and we'll help you find some different experiences. But this is a really good website to kind of start getting experience or start going into your field. So they organize this by different cause and different things. But someone on the chat, let me know which one they want me to click on here. Health and wellness, mental health. Someone in the chat, just say anything you want me to click on. Human services, youth development, housing. Okay, so housing, where's housing? Housing and hunger. I click that. Now it's going to show me all the organizations that has to do with housing. So I'm going to just click this. Sometimes it doesn't always do it right.
Hold on.
But let me open this up. So if I click this, it's Family Crisis Center over in LA is kind of far, but if I open up this website, typically it'll go to a nonprofit that has to do with domestic violence, sexual assault, homelessness, joblessness, poverty, human trafficking, a lot of different issues, right? So let me just click on their website to see what they're about. So typically, if you go to a nonprofit, they need a lot of help. They're nonprofit, right? Typically, you will find something up here that says like volunteer or internship or even entry-level jobs. Because imagine having 1736 Family Crisis Center on your resume before you graduate. And then let's say you do want to work with homeless population, that's gonna look really good on your resume, right? So I'm not gonna dig through here, but there you go. So if I go to like careers or give back, usually there you go. See that? Volunteer and internships. So if I click that, usually there's different opportunities for you to do. And a lot of times too, a lot of these places provide training. So like there's one organization that provides like mental health first aid training, for example. And a lot of times those are free. You just got to do like commitment, like online training. But the fact that you put that on your resume with your, you know, sociology degree, aging studies, whatever it is, it's just going to make your application way stronger and you're way ahead of everyone else. And you're actually going to be connected to your field. And typically, let's say you do work here or like you volunteer or you intern, guess what? You typically have a supervisor. So if you need a letter of recommendation, you need a reference down the line, they got you. Especially if you're really good. Sometimes they'll even make a position for you that like they'll just finish your degree and we'll hire you kind of thing. Sometimes that happens as well. And that's just one, right? If I go back to this, there's a lot more here you could choose from. So again, OC Nonprofit is a really good website to look for different causes in the areas. I'll put down in the chat one more time here. And we have some really good resources here, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But highly recommend you do meet with me at least once every semester just to see what you're doing. Because a lot of times what I find students, they kind of like go off track or do different things. And we just want to make sure that you you finish, right? Because sometimes students are kind of like doing squirrely random things. And we want to make sure that you finish with us and you get to your end goal, whatever that looks like. So what else? Yeah, so one more time, I'm gonna put the link for the appointment, the straight one, on the chat here for you all. I'm gonna unshare. See what else we have here. Okay. So I wanted to thank again the audience for all the students for being here. If you should have received the feedback form at 7 p.m. tonight. If not, send me an email, careerservices@coastline.edu. And I really wanted to thank again the Professor Montero, for Counselor Melissa, for providing your knowledge and expertise, and all the students that are here. And usually for the last few minutes, we want to ask for some of the students to also share like their experience with the summit. So if anyone want to verbally share.
I just want to say one last thing. For students of mine who are here to receive extra credit, please make sure that you fill out the survey because that's how I'll know that you attended.
Yeah, so some students are already messaging me. So you'll receive the form 7 p.m. 7 p.m. If you registered for this event, you should get an email that has the link to the form. If not, send me an email. My email is right there, careerservices@coastline. Yeah, Sandy, if it's for different class, if they are providing extra credit, yeah, just send me an email and I'll figure out who the professor is. I can send that list to that person. Perfect. Yeah. Does anyone want to share their experience with this summit? Because we did this probably like a 4th or 5th time.
Mm-hmm.
So Kat, Stacy, Shannon, Andrea, Yvette, Arlene, anything you'd like to share?
I'll share. I was typing it, but I really enjoyed this because I already have a hard time asking for help, and I feel more open to wanting to come on campus actually and spending time there because I don't know. I'm old and I started really late and I put myself out there for my 3 kids, but I don't do it for myself. And I know that I need to do it for my future and for their future. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And I feel like this week I'm going to get down there and do it because work will always be there, but I feel very confident. It's my 2nd year in college. I'm very grateful for this opportunity and I love Coastline. I tell everyone to come here.
Thank you. I see Grace has her hand up. Grace, did you want to share something?
Hi, so Professor Montero, I am in one of your classes. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who was involved in tonight. I personally, I'm a sociology major, and my original plan was, to become a college counselor, but I realized I want to be more involved when it comes to, student life and, maybe coordinating programs or, doing like some of the behind the scenes things as well as still having that face-to-face interactions with students. So I appreciate hearing everybody's testimonies and how I recently learned there is no exact linear pathway to what we want to do. And as we're, figuring it out, we might learn or see things that might deviate from the original plan. So it was it was very reassuring and very validating to hear that, hey, like it's not just me, it's, everybody has their own way. So I appreciate all of that and also the resources that you guys have. I worked at Golden West. I'm a student. I'm based in Golden West, but I'm taking the Coastline class here. I've worked at Golden West for 4 years, and I feel like that has really helped me figure out that yes, I do want to help students. I do want to learn more about the education system and to see what I could do to help other people who are in my position and who are in other different positions because I'm just a front desk staff at the tutoring center, but I've seen so many different students with different backgrounds and situations. And, I do encourage to, like some of our panelists said, if you have opportunity to work on campus, I do encourage that as well. So thank you guys all for everything tonight.
Thank you, Grace, for being here.
Thank you for sharing that, Grace. On the chat, I actually put the link for ASG, Grace, if you're not involved already. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just like saying I could share. I wanted to say that, well, I'm 15, so I'm still kind of deciding like what I want to major in the future. And I think that's really helpful because it introduced me to a lot of new majors. At first, I was like psychology, then I'm like, no, poli sci, sociology. And I'm actually in your sociology class, Professor Montero. But I never thought of human services before. And I think that's definitely something I want to look into now because it kind of combines all my interests.
Great. Thank you for being here. And I'm glad to see that you're getting such an early start.
Thank you for sharing, Elise. I actually found the link for the survey. So if you're here already, feel free to scan this and it should lead to the survey. Elise, is your hand still up, Elise, or your
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't lower it. Yeah.
So I think we're good. No, Paolo. If people want to stay behind because you want to, talk to one of us or you have questions, that's, totally fine. But if you've already shared something in the chat, then I think, we're good to go. Thank you all for making the time to be here.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And again, I put the QR code as well too there, so feel free, you could scan that and that counts as well.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you guys for everything.